basically one draft that they played through Animajor, they picked this Mars and this AA, like every game that they could. And if they wasn't Mars or AA, it was DK, Phoenix type heroes, and they just picked it non-stop.
Just picked it already.
Yeah, and curiously, I'll go on, T. Go ahead.
I just want to say, before we get into the nitty-gritty, the Hellbear Smashes logo in the smoke behind the mountain, very cool. Very, very cool.
It is cool.
Thank you very much. That's all I have to say. Back to you, Sheep.
Thanks for your input, sir. I'm glad you interrupted me for that. I really appreciate it.
Radiant team.
I actually lost my train of thought. Well played,
Oh no! Oh. Okay.
Well, sort of incisive analysis that T coming
that's true.
In for.
I've derailed her. Sorry, my bad.
No, it's over. I'm done.
Okay.
Oh, they did ban Brood though. That is a hero that they do not play. I believe Mind Control played it once against LGD and they lost. So I don't think they're confident in picking Brood. I think they don't want to play against Brood. So I think that ban is very justified and normal for Team NIGMA.
I guess pick from Yeah, I was going to say, that's the kind of interesting thing here. Is the Smashers bans, the Nyx Invoker, these are often the two bans that teams would always do against Smashers during DPC, because of course back then you had Stormstormer, and there was just the idea of the team, when they look at Nyx, it's like, we hate the idea of Nyx because it removes our mid-hero pool. And that was kind of a big Storm thing that he brought to teams, like, get rid of Nyx, let me play Dota. Maybe it stuck with them with the whole Boronier joining. But yeah, it's interesting that they have their own bans kind of being thrown in, but of course, is respect to NIGMA. It's a miracle.
I want to chat a bit about this. Lina, for Hellbears, Lina's been largely a Gilga hero. Bora Ninja doesn't play it so much. But in the other qualifiers, Lina's been played pretty rarely as a force, been mostly a mid-hero. Axe. Shipo, do you think this is going to be a mid-Lina?
Templar Assassin.
Well, it can flex both ways, right? That's the strength of these heroes that you first phase nowadays. They can go in multiple lanes. Even Axe can go carrier off lane. I was checking out Bora Ninja's game history, and he does play Lina, and I think as well, Stormstormer played a lot of Lina as well, so they are used to playing this lineup with this Lina core. So if they want to put it mid on Bora Ninja, that would work really well for them because they know what they're doing with it.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, I like one of.
Go ahead, sorry.
Sorry, no, mate. That's right. So I like the idea of the mid Lina. Of course, the TA can be a bit annoying, but we saw how Lina developed as a hero throughout the major, especially mid lane, because you go for like Yules into like AC, BKB, you become very tanky very quickly, very sustainable, and that's the type of thing that you want in these type of games. Like, and of course, Lina Axe is very strong, but I like the fact that if it does go for mid Lina, you're going to have a free game in the essence of just play behind your Axe, just chill. So yeah, I honestly would like to see the mid lane allow Boronier to pop off. Like, he carried Mud Golems so many times from the mid lane, off like double-digit kills, 2-3 deaths. Like, he was like one of the best players on the team before he got hit, or he left, either way. But yeah, I'd like to see him on a hero that can have that type of performance.
I was planning out that Mars. It does look like quite a similar NIGMA draft to what we saw at the major. Did they play a lot of TA at the major?
Everyone dabbled with the TA. Everyone had a little bit of dabbling, but not a lot of play.
Everyone's tried a TA.
I think it was their go-to. I believe Miracle's most played heroes were like Invoker, Pug, Morphling, and even Razor. He played quite a bit of Razor.
The wee heart.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah. I think he only played like 2 or so games of TA at most. It wasn't much.
But it could be an ILTW pick.
Dire team bad.
Again, it's not much, not a very common ILTW. Albert's planning out the Embers, and they seem to think it's a carry.
Yeah, both teams right now are just respecting the kind of philosophy of the teams, because Hellbear Smashers often put ace on these heroes that will secure the late game or secure like their big win condition. And he plays behind that pocket of aggression. It's like a 4 protect 1 style, where NIGMA, they're a little bit more kind of robust in the style of they'll play as 4 like 5 quite quickly, and they'll run you over. And I think that's why Smashers, they're banning out these heroes that complement that overwhelming aggression, like minute 10, minute 11, run into your jungle. But Smashers right now, when you pick an Axe, you don't really deal with that well. You know, you need 15, 20 minutes of time to kind of chill, get a couple items, then you play a great game of Dota. And that's why they are banning out these Mars, these Embers, because they can connect the dots very quickly to run over the slower game of Smashers.
Does Rasmus play? He plays a lot of Axe. Does he play a carry Axe, or does he play an old traditional?
Honestly, mate, I don't know. You know, Misery's a guy that, depending on what side of the bed he wakes up, he's a carry axe, he's a not 12 axe, you know, he's a 30 and 0 axe, he's a blade mail axe, he's a manta axe. I don't know. Honestly, we're gonna have to see.
I think they'll pick Luna. I think they'll put Luna on either side because Terrorblade's banned. He's like the greatest carry, deals with it really well. I wouldn't mind
it for NIGMA. Yeah, no, exactly, yeah.
Especially
primarily
to Wyvern.
10
yeah,
seconds
primarily because
remaining.
it's like Nigma's idea of beating the tanky off lanes, be it the Centaur, be it the Axe or Timber Saw, it was the Luna. You pair it with just like any 5, and it's just that constant chip. You have the disconnect from playing inside the creep wave, and you just run over your opponent quite quickly.
Yeah, they also have.
Go ahead.
Radiant team.
Sorry, they have Lion in the pool as well. I think that hero's really good. Oh well, never. They have an Iron support hero now.
Watch out for the gyro.
Yeah, they've played non-gyro together. They played with a bit of like Ursa, a bit of Morphling even with Iron.
The Luna's still good, honestly. Like, it's Luna or gyro, right? They're the 2 options.
Remaining.
Talk to me a little bit about this Wisp as a pick, because it's really only a NIGMA pick, this Wisp. We don't see it a huge amount elsewhere. I mean, other people pick it up, but they're the only team that reliably do. So they're picking it up just with the gyro. You said they do other things as well, but what sort of mechanism are you building towards T?
Farm. It's just farm. The hero fell off from first phasing because of the count, like the ability to understand. But second phase IO is still very strong because you already see like 3 pieces of the puzzle, right? You see kind of where the plan for your enemy is, and that's when you can punish them with farm. Like you see heroes like Lina, Wyvern. If this is a support duo, they're not invading your jungle, taking away your stacks, preventing you from farming, and that unlocks a second phase IO pick to be paired with a gyro or a Luna because that jungle is, you know, fully protected. You just efficiency, and now you're going to be top net worth, running over your opponent.
You also have to consider it's just comfort.
10 seconds remaining.
Talk to me about this Hoodwink, Sheepo.
5
Hoodwink,
seconds
very
remaining.
contested hero, I'd say. I think she's quite strong as a support. She has a lot to offer,
Dire
especially with
team
the
back.
ability to burst heroes with her ultimate when they do these pickoffs. She trades quite well in lane. She's just very good at a lot of things, it feels like. She can help us, you know, split push these lanes as well. She's just in general, she's good at setting up. I think that's a very strong ability on
10
Hoodwink.
seconds
But,
remaining.
yeah, mostly the hero just like pokes and fights and goes back and forth, and she's just very
5
effective
seconds
with all of her
remaining.
spells.
The second most picked hero in the TI qualifiers so far after Lion, which has not even seen a pick on. We're with the meta when we're outside of the meta. We're even place. It's Team Nigma. Gyrocopters move into final bans. So you talk to me about what you'd like to see Nigma ban out here to prevent Hellbears.
I think maybe Ursa, or like kind of this hero that wants to get into the fight. Because right now, Smashers, they have no hero that innately warps up front into the engagement with happiness, and that alone kind of is an issue for Smashers because like Lina needs 2 or 3 items to feel comfortable in this game. Axe, of course, is a reinitiator, and then Hoodwink, Wyvern, if this is your support duo, they're like heavily backline type heroes. So I think a carry that can run up in front, like even like a Wraithling, for example, as well,
remaining.
just get involved and just soak it up.
5 seconds remaining.
Team Nigma are going to ban
Spectre.
out the Drow, which is in many ways the opposite of the Ursa.
Dire
Yeah,
team
this is true.
back.
They want to focus on the laning phase, and this could be an indicator of like they want like a Tidehunter or a Slardar style pick for mind control last, and this is why they're, rather than banning out for the game, they're banning out for the lane because like they know that Io Gyro will have good time. TA should fare well mid,
10
so as long as there's not a
remaining.
favorable matchup in the safe lane for Smashers,
5
you know, mind control
seconds
should go
remaining.
even as well. And I think that's like I just described these kind of later heroes, but they're just like, no, let's just make sure he enters the game well, because all 3 lanes entering well gives Nigma that kind of idea of running over the opponent.
Do you like these Hellbears bans?
I think they're decent. I quite like them. Sanking is a great initiator, as is Clockwork, and I think that's what Team Nigma lack right now on their team. Obviously, you can relocate in a hero, but if there's no hero going in first and knocking someone down for you, you know what you're gonna do. Especially with this egg, you want to take your team fight. You want an egg. You want to protect that egg. You want to, you know, block people down so they get stunned by it. But right now, Nigma have literally nothing for that. I think Sanking's one of the best heroes to do it, just because of the speed of his initiation. And I think, like with Mars Band as well, they're quite limited in their options of what they can pick here.
So we're probably, and call me out if I'm way off here, probably expecting a DK last pick.
Did it get through?
I mean, I know.
Yeah. It is available. Let's not beat around the bush here, guys. It is available. Chill and has a stun. Slava, DK, Tidehunter, any of these lads were perfectly well for NIGMA because it gives them to someone to round out their draft. Sorry. Ban the Luna themselves.
I think the Luna would have been a really good pick.
Yeah.
But only a little bit worried about a ranged because they want something to take down the Phoenix. I
10
suppose they've got the
seconds
Lina to
remaining.
take down the Phoenix, but that's just one hero.
5 seconds remaining.
It's the idea of running the lane, you know, like they focus so heavily on just
Dire
make sure
team
Mind Control gets a good game, right? Because again, like NIGMA, they pick here first. So whatever they pick, Ace will get like the counter to it. It'll have the matchup, and that's why rather than trying to big brain some stuff, they like just ban out the best lane winners right now that we think Ace can play.
Snap. They've got
Radiant
20 seconds to
team
make a pick, Sheep 6. Hunter, there we go.
There it is.
It's one of those boys. Okay. Well, you're going to have to predict the
boys.
Hellbear Smashers draft then, Sheep, because you weren't able to do that Team Nig 1 in time.
Oh no.
You've got
No
55
pressure.
seconds. Time is going down. Countdown theme is playing.
10
like
seconds
We're not playing
remaining.
though.
Ursa Bear's pretty great. Although Ace usually plays quite heavy farming
5
carries,
seconds
so he could
remaining.
even be on the axe, right? And they could just pick some offlaner here. I don't know what would be good enough. I feel like Ursa is so good at taking down this like Tidehunter hero, and also it's really good when you want to like 4p1 something. Obviously they have TA Gyro dual core, that's pretty good, but I feel like Ursa could probably burst the hero fast enough that they can't save with IO, or like you can help kill the egg. I would like that hero a lot. Otherwise, I don't know, maybe they just go full tanky, pick some Medusa.
They do play a lot of Juicer.
Yeah,
is
like,
currently
do they
banned
have
now.
damage? Oh, is it?
Currently banned.
Yes, second
I
base
can't
from
see-
NIGMA. No, it's fine.
They
Okay,
play so
well,
much juice that
whatever.
they can get it through the bans.
I
It's
w-
fine. When you play a lot of a hero, it doesn't matter if it's banned.
Choose your hero.
Yeah.
PL.
That doesn't seem good
okay.
against Titan lane.
That's an interesting
it's-
pick.
Like,
Interesting. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say.
we're going to head into this game pretty quickly. So as a last-minute prediction, T, who do you think is going to win this?
The viewer.
Viewer, that's the real winner. So you've got one prediction for the viewer, Sheepo. Have you got a more? You're going to hedge your bets?
I'll always put my bets on GHIO. I think Nigma's got this in the bag.
Okay, well, can Team Nigma relocate themselves into a Game 1 win? I'm going to hand over to our wonderful casters, the stupendous Suns fan and Cinderin.
Hello,
10
everybody.
seconds
Suns fan here with the great Cinderin. How are
5
you
seconds
doing
remaining.
on this lovely morning for you? Actually, it's morning for both of us, Cinderin.
That's
Greetings.
true. Stupendous. Do you like that introduction?
Well, we do
We
put
just
stupid
Google
and
exactly
stupendous,
what
so
it means. That's the thing about Dan. He uses big words, and we're not very smart. So extremely
up-
impressive, says Google. So he's just flat out lying to the viewers. That's great. That's the host.
yep, that's how we start every cast, by being self-deprecating. So no matter how bad we are, people can't complain because we warned them beforehand. Isn't
We
that
can
right,
only
Cinder?
impress now. Yeah, that's it. Now we can only impress. If people have never listened to us before, they're going to be like, all right, these two have no idea what they're talking about. And then hopefully throughout the game, they'll be like, okay, they knew very little what they were talking about. Still better than nothing.
That's true. It is an so
Yeah, exciting game. I just want to quickly, going into this series, I think there's obviously going to be some big storylines in this tournament. A lot of people have high hopes for NIGMA, so this is like their first test going up against the Hellbear Smashers that, like T-Governor pointed out, Hellbears are good at taking that one game off a team, but can they take it best of NIGMA, I think if you polled the population in Dota right now, I think most people would expect either G or NIGMA to make it through, so get one of the two top dogs here in the first series. And NIGMA are playing a lot of their trademark stuff, so they're really they're going in guns blazing for the game.
very insightful indeed. If you told most people, they would pick the two most popular teams that come out. You are
Prepare for
absolutely
battle.
correct,
Popular.
Cinderin. They are both the most popular, and now right?
The thing though is
something
that
to it.
NIGMA
That's
wasn't
true.
just the placement they got, but their games just look out of form compared to the major, where, you know, if you're going to the tournament with that in your mind, you might think a team like Tundra could even be favored against the duel, obviously further down the line.
No, I think there is the aspect, and the panel kind of talked about that NIGMA were kind of figured out towards the later end of the major, and at ESL they just played the same. I mean, they're basically playing the same thing here. So, I mean, obviously there hasn't been any kind of a patch, so I don't. Were you? That's actually a good question. Were you expecting anything
30
different
seconds
coming from
to
them? Are they just waiting for the patch to come before they make these major tweaks going into TI?
I mean, I think a lot of the stuff that NIGMA plays and played at the major are just really good heroes in the patch. So if anything, I think small adjustments are enough. Like swap out 1 or 2 heroes in like your active arsenal, and then you have like if you have like some sort of cheeky last pick that you've theorized could be good, then maybe that. But outside of that, like in ESL as well, I don't think the biggest problem necessarily was strategy. I just think they got like outplayed more so than having poor strategies. So also about, you know, just being in form and being on the same page. Speaking of strategy, like the panel was pointing out, this looked like a really good Ursa game, by the way, for the Smashers, and I really wonder what made them end up on the PL, if it's more of like a macro understanding of the game right now that a hero like Ursa can't win this late game or can't like build in an advantage, because he had some amazing matchups. Ursa's very good against Tide, very good against Phoenix, in my opinion, very good against Gyro as well. So it was only really Miracle's TA that you were worried about, where you took the opposite approach here, where you took the PL that's good against the TA, but not so good against the Tide or the Phoenix. So maybe showing a lot of respect to the TA pick in general, and feel like you have to.
I want to say at the major, from the games that we cast at least, PL looked as Ace is going to get pressured completely out here. They could survive the engagement though early on between the Kuroki and mind control combo, but PL looked, I don't know if you feel the same way, felt a bit underwhelming once you got to like the late game timing. It feels like you need the semi-carry, which maybe, you know, Bora on the Lina can be that hero, but PL just doesn't feel like this hero you can just bank everything on.
I think the hero just felt overwhelming in general, and not just in the late game. There were a couple of games that we saw where he did very well when he was in the very good conditions and there was a very good like cast and plan around him. I don't know how much I like Hellbear Smasher's lineup as a PL lineup. Usually what PL wants is other heroes either having like, I would say very good ability to single target out people so that PL can go on something else. And what you're primarily sitting with, I guess the Hoodwink could be kind of cool for that. Largely on an axe call to start a fight, and then PL will try to go on something else. Because this hero thrives in chaos, right? And I think that's part of the reason he looked weak at the major, was that a lot of the teams had this like very structured team fight that the hero isn't so good against. Tofu is in trouble bottom here.
And Cold braces himself for now. Kuro does have a couple fire spirits left, and yeah, with the right click from mind control, nope, not gonna quite pick out. Now mind control kind of on the run, and as we see this action, I want to scroll just a little bit higher. Oh, they actually got rid of it. No, there's this, I've never seen this spray paint before. You'll see it. I don't know who it is, but it's of a person yawning, and that might be the best spray paint in the entire game. So we just have to you have to wait with bated breath here until that comes about again. And maybe we can ask the players to pop it on the floor one more time.
So they don't kill Tofu there, but they do force out the Cold Embrace skill point on level 2, which means the aggressive potential of Smashers in the save existent. I don't think you really wanted to try to play aggressive here anyway. You're playing against Tide Phoenix with a PL. PL does like negligible damage to Tide already, so what's your Wyvern really going to do? So you're just trying to sustain and farm. So that's kind of par for the course here. And it kind of goes both ways. Like it looked like maybe there was a potential kill on the Wyvern there for NIGMA, but it's still at Fairy Fire, and obviously Phoenix's damage is not too interesting until level 3 and especially level 5 with the Fire Spirit points. So I think we're just going to mid lane Boranya versus Miracle is a pretty even lane. Lina against TA. I think go back a couple years, TA wins this matchup pretty hard, but Lina has some more things going her way now than back then. And then in that top lane, I think Io Gyro is a good lane against Axe.
All right, a courier was just fed to Rasmus here, aka Misery. He's going to chase down GH a bit. Forgot to mention this, of course. This is, I think, the first time I've ever cast Misery since the DC days, so I'm actually pretty excited about this. There's another courier, potentially with his name on it, but GH. We can micro that, make sure they don't feed a second one to Mr. Rasmus himself. I don't know why he changed his name. I need to Now, it's going to be my research for the next game,
Radiant's
which he'll
middle
probably not
tower
answer
is
me,
under
but I'm going to
attack.
figure out why he changed his name for Misery.
Maybe he felt like every time in the game, like he just had too many negative
Dyer's
connotations with the
top
look
tower
of the
is
screen.
under attack.
Could be.
He wanted a more optimistic and positive name for his team. Like
He did
happy
have a
names such as
reputation.
Tofu and Ace. You need
I mean,
to match
Tofu
that.
is the most neutral name possible. Right? It's tasteless. You're supposed to add everything to it to make it taste anything good, but
Oh, that was a contra.
really? I thought that was the entire point of it. Okay, well, we can have a discussion this time. By itself, yeah. The whole idea is to add stuff to it. But anyway, back to the games, and this is the TI qualifiers, for God's sake. Get your head back inside the game, good sir. We have
I'm in the
ILTW, of course, on this gyrocopter, 22-7 versus the PL of 27-3. So neither are farming that great. As you can see, Rocket Barrage on the Mr. Rasmus. You can see Gil here. A little bit of damage from the sideline. It's a hero we have yet to talk about because he's been in basically every single game, this Hoodwink. I know you hated him at first, but I should say. Have your
Right.
thoughts changed over the course of the past few weeks?
They actually have. So at the major, when I was talking about Hoodwink, I wouldn't say I was a hater. I just felt like the hero had a lot of conditionals that needed to be met in order to perform well. Like a couple of heroes in the meta really made it hard to
Dyer's
survive. Like literally dead. All right.
That's first blood for NIGMA. Go ahead, Sandra. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I think Hoodwink needed a lot of. It felt like Hoodwink needed a lot of conditionals met, but after just seeing it and playing it more, I'm kind of getting to a point now where I think the hero's a bit more independent than I give it credit for. It's somewhat against a lot of combinations where it would be hard. I think if you play around it in a smart way, you can set things up, and the tempo of the game really seems to favor a skill like Bushwhack Kite a lot. There's a lot of fighting around tree lines in the early mid-game in many of these games where Hoodwink can do a lot of impact. Usually when the hero starts falling off is when teams start getting like kibbies or like just get too tanky or get a lot of mobility items, so it gets harder to hit your spells. But in the position that Smashers picked it, I kind of like it. Like when you pick it later into the draft, when you see that the enemy team, okay, they're not playing like 3 heroes that have insane mobility. They're very much grounded, right? Like, what did you see at the time? You saw Phoenix, TA, and Io, I think, with that Hoodwink. None of these heroes with like insane mobility, so you have a good chance of landing your spells and not relying too much on teammates to
It
set
does
you up.
feel like one of those vanilla picks as
This
well.
is my
not
shot.
just-
Radiant's top tower is under
I mean, I
attack.
will say this, Syndra. I know you're going to disagree, but this is one of the heroes that NA has introduced to the world. Basically the only region to play this hero for the longest time. And we saw at the major with
Maybe
varying
that's why it
results,
wasn't picked so much at the major.
Yeah, that's why you didn't believe in it, because NA were the team. I mean, you're like, NA's garbage, so anything they pick is probably
Yeah, you
garbage,
were
but,
really good.
hey, they happen to be right about one thing, all right? So
That's true.
we can at least put that to our name. But we haven't really talked about the lineups overall. And then Michael is getting pressured out of the bottom lane for now. We'll be okay though. But do you favor one team or the other, not including skill? Because obviously coming into this, Team NIGMA, like you talked about, the number 1 seed for all intents and purposes, so they will be the team to beat.
I don't know. So one thing I'm not so big a fan of with NIGMA's lineup is what the panel pointed out, that they have like no catch, no reliable way of setting up fights. They just have that Ravage. And when we get out of the laning stage and skirmishes start happening, you're very much reliant on Ravage to get stuff done. But when you get later in the game, you can kind of itemize your way out of it, right? By just having overwhelming items or buying stuns or maybe be able to outlast, so you get a guaranteed good Ravage because your cores are tanky enough with the Io Phoenix backing them up that
Radiant's
it just
middle
takes
tower
so long.
is under attack.
Boranya will be forced to TP away here from the room. Good
Can you
cover from
pronounce that
Boranya.
name again for me, please?
Okay, so I actually don't know. So I call him Boranya, and some call him Borania, and the panel
Okay.
call him Bora Ninja, which is definitely wrong. Because the letter isn't even in his name. So I'll say they're wrong, but beyond that, I don't know.
Okay, I'm just gonna call him Bora. It's just half of his name, so it can't be technically
Yeah, let's
incorrect.
call him
It's-
Bora.
So NIGMA, they see this stack here. The question is, can they do enough the pressure here? Rasmus, he's gonna be found out, is level 6 right now. The trap does slow, homing missile on the way. Witchwhack does connect on the 2, but Rasmus able to get off his resistance, also will be tanky as a result. The call down is there with the reinforcements on the way as well. Finally, NIGMA are able to take him out, but will it cost them anything? Look at all the rotations here from Hellbear. Smasher, GH will not be able to TP out. LSA was there. Then up being a 1-for-1, but the real question is, where does it stack though? They can't take it without the axe.
Yeah, they're just gonna hold the area, and X
Are
is
scanning.
gonna go there as soon as he spawns and try again. X with Vanguard can do this on his own. Yeah, you could be cute and collaborate him with Wyvern. Have contribution to pro history. But they don't need to do that here. X can do it on his own problem. So, yeah, I feel like I didn't really answer your question about favorite is going
You
late.
never do. I just want people out there that are listening / watching, just understand that you don't answer any questions, period.
Ever.
Yes, ever.
Okay, so if NIGMA get through at what could be a turbulent mid game, I do favor their strategy in the end, because I think both TA and Gyro in this game are going to be overwhelmingly farmed, and I always like Phoenix late game as a support. Yes, you're playing in Lina, but it's literally the only very big problem you have for your egg, because PL can't go for the supernova when he's just going to get ravaged, right? So if you set it up nicely with, let's say, TA starting the fight with either, I don't know if Miracle's going to go for a scythe in this
Dire's
game to
middle
lock people
tower
down,
is
or
under attack.
a nullifier or whatever to
Invisibility.
just like start the fight. And then Phoenix follows through. It's very difficult for Hellbear Smash to go in and deal with that supernova. And Tide get a refresher late games, get 2 ravages. Very late. I like Nigma. In theory, in the next 10 minutes, I like Smashers, but I haven't really seen them take much initiative right now. They're kind of just letting both the Gyro and the TA farm to their heart's content. Generally not a good look. These 2 heroes just farm faster than anything you have. Like, you're
Radiant's
not going to
middle
keep up with your
tower is under
PL and your
attack.
axe to this when the axe is played offlane.
I'm gonna ask you a bit of a, I don't know what kind of question you want to even describe this
Dire's
as.
top
It's a bit of a
tower
hot
is
take.
under
Do you think
attack.
Gyro
Radiant's
is a
bottom
good
tower is
hero
under attack.
without IO?
Radiant structures are fortified.
Let's see, Bushwhack. We got to hold the horses there, Mr. Sinran. Yeah, sharpshooters there, but Rasmus not able to do much as there was a relocate. But it's actually a baby relocate. They want to go back in here. Kuroki
Radiant's
does have
bottom
egg as
tower
well.
has been
And a
denied.
posture, but
Radiant
a fight will actually
structures
commence
are
from this. So go
fortified.
ahead with your amazing opinion that you won't answer.
Deny bottom by Tofa there on the Wyvern, by the way. Tower from Tide. So, yeah, I actually do think Gyro can be a good hero without IO. I don't think it's as much of a requirement as it felt like, I want to say a month or 2 ago, where it was literally only played together. But if you do pick Gyro without the IO, I think it needs to be a very late pick in the draft, because there's like specific pitfalls for this hero where it can be difficult, like some matchups where people come up too close and are getting to do a lot of the like very mobile heroes can kite you and
Dire's
make
top
your life
tower
miserable
is
because
under
your spells
attack.
don't land.
Dire's
So much of your
structures
damage in the
are
early mid
fortified.
game is about the rocket barrage as well as the call down until you get farmed enough that flat cannon becomes your main source. A lot of heroes can deal with it very well, but when it gets picked late, like let's say last pick or second to last,
LPW might be in some
super
trouble. GH does have his relocate, and you can see just like that with the Bushwhack setup. Hellbear Smashers absolutely decimate him. So probably returns home to a
Radiant's
tier
middle
1 as
tower
well
is
as
under attack.
Bora's rotated here, in addition to basically everybody from Hellbear Smashers.
I don't think you hold this tower. Like, I get what Mind Control's intent is. This is something you want to do with these, like, tanky offlaners like
Dire's
Tide, is you
top
want to
tower
TP in and defend your safe lane tower. Same logic for Timbersaw, but, like, your carry just died. He doesn't have buyback, and the tower's on 20%. So I think that TP... He might complete it anyway, just so he can sit up here and take the follow-up farm that comes and push out the wave again. But that tower was definitely dead on arrival as soon as LTW died. And nice from Hellbears here, right? Like, they take some initiative. It's been a relatively quiet game. They kill the carry, they take it tier 1. I think you want to keep rolling. You have a peel with this early diffusal timing. Hoodwink has level 7, which is a very strong spike for the hero. When you have your ulti and 4 points in Bushwhack, you're very, very powerful. Axe is going to get his dagger and 20 gold. So all things are coming together here. I would really like to see Smashers try more invasive maneuvers, especially if they can play away from the Tide. That's like the one centerpiece that NIGMA have to kind of glue their lineup together in team fights right now.
Dire are scanning.
Forcing that guy to TP top could have even given them a smoke toward the other side of the map, but they chose to fall back to farm this dagger first.
And like you said, Ace does have the Diffusal Blade. We have Bora on the Lina, has the Boots of Travel going into Yules. We saw the Maelstrom already picked up by LTW. Obviously going for the Aghanim Scepter thereafter. The I mean, once he gets that, it feels like his farm just takes on another level where there's almost no other heroes that can really catch up outside of like a Luna type hero. I mean, even the TA on your team won't be able to keep up with that at some point in the game. By the way, now that we have a small break, I have a little bit of not a complaint, but why has nobody talked about how the health bars at the top have changed colors? Is that just me that notices this?
What has
in the last
changed?
patch?
Is it a different green hue and a different red hue? Or...
Yeah, they're both darker. Is that just my
That's
computer?
true, actually. That is
Why
true.
has nobody complained? It's really been bothering
Is that only when you're spectating or also when you're playing?
when I'm playing as well. Okay, just a PSA out there. Nobody has brought that. I feel like I'm literally crazy that I'm the only one that has noticed this, but it's really
When did
bothering.
that happen? In a patch like a day ago or something?
No, it was the Nemesis patch, I believe.
Oh. I think people didn't notice it because they were lagging all the time, so they couldn't really focus on other things.
Well, they're still lagging, I guess. I don't know
Right.
what the deal with that is. Yeah, that
Trying to
micro
control their
stutter.
heroes, yeah, they're focusing on improving their performance rather than looking at the top of the screen.
Yeah, it's just
Mid tower is gonna be attacked here. I like this from Smashers. No siege creep yet though, so I think a better timing would have probably been next wave. But it's the right idea to not just sit back and farm and do nothing. Relatively quiet game though. 4 kills at 15 minutes is very super in this patch.
Radiant's top tower is
And
under
I
attack.
think NIGMA are happy with it, so you're not... You know, there's like this fine balance in the game between doing what you want to do and doing what the enemy team doesn't want you to do. They're not always the same thing.
Radiant
Does that make
are
sense?
scanning.
Like sometimes your lineup really wants to farm, but because the enemy team wants to farm even more than you do, it can be better to play aggressive. Like, the reason I say this is a lot of the time PL lineups are happy to just do this, right? Just sit back and farm. Oh, PL's free farming. That's great, but the lineup you're playing against probably thrives more from that playstyle than your PL draft, even though you last picked it.
Radiant's
I kind of
middle
feel like there's a
tower
little
is
bit
under
of...
attack.
There should be a feeling of urgency to get something done for Smashers here, even though their lineup, in theory, would be happy to farm.
Yeah, we talked about it. Gyro and TA are basically going to out-farm you no matter what at this stage. I mean, right now,
Still
Miracle...
even, like, it's just a 1k lead, but it's kind of the writing on the wall that key items are coming up.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, now that the Ags is... Actually, did he change up his build? Is he going BKB on ILPW? I think something's being delivered right now. We'll see what that is. But Miracle did get
going to be good.
his Desolator right now.
Radiant's
Okay, so ends up
bottom
changing his...
tower is
It
under
looks like they
attack.
want to fight with this Desolator on Miracle. That's kind of the timing. As... You see that
The
they are
timing
scouted
for
out
NIGMA
here
in
a
this
bit.
game will be BKBs,
Dire's
right?
middle tower
You
is under
pretty much
attack.
you negate a lot of the Lina, you negate basically all of Hoodwink. At least for Hellbear Smashers, they do have 2 BKB piercing abilities in the Call as well as the Winter's Curse, so it's not nothing. But even against a hero like Phantom Lancer, BKB can actually be very good because you remove the diffusal aspect of the hero. It can help you in a lot of core matchups, especially. So I think, you know, ILTW getting his BKB and maybe Miracle after Blink will
Dire
get
are
another
scanning.
BKB. Ty got his dagger. It's still just very calm with Smashers. I feel like having this timing right now that isn't really getting used. They got an Axe Blink, have yet to use it. Lina has her Yules, has yet to use it.
I mean, this is a situation, I know it's an offlane act. This is like, if you knew this was going to happen, you probably would have just went straight for Manta, I assume, and not gotten the blink yet. But it is 17 minutes,
yeah.
they can't get that shard quite yet, so they are going to smoke, and we'll see if they can find a kill as a result of this. I think this is I feel like the first team smoke of the entire game here. But like we
I
talked
think
about,
Smashers are just frustrated. It feels like they're not able to push out the waves as much as they would like to make these smokes good. And at
Dire's
this point, they're
middle
going to do
tower
one
is
where
under attack.
both their bottom and top wave are kind of halfway across the map for the other team. So it's not like a very advantageous position. And now they're going to move in. They're going to place an ops, which is uncovered. We do know there's a ward from...
that would be a huge kill. Hoodwink hands off the stun. Beautiful Laguna Blade. That is enough to delete ILTW. The big thing about that is he was 200 gold away from finishing his BKB. So now he's 400. That is a big timing opening here for Hellbear Smashers. We'll see if they can take the tier 1 in addition here. But Mind Control is a bit... He is here with the Blink Ravage. I really want to go for it. It is 45.
Damage on that
Dire's
Lina double damage.
structures are fortified.
Notification
Dire's
pop.
middle tower is under attack.
It looks like the tower will fall, and NIGMA is just going
Dire's
to chill
middle
for now.
tower has fallen.
Wait for ILTW to come back up.
Really
Didn't
nice
mention,
Smashers.
Hoodwink did get the Ironwood Tree neutral, by the way. Maybe I'll say the second best hero to be able to get this behind Timbersaw. Well, it's not Timbersaw as it used to be. Basically,
Radiant's
just plant the
middle
tree and
tower
then
is
you
under
can bushwhack
attack.
first and then tree after.
Yeah,
Almost like
it's
an
800
invisible
cast
stun.
range and it's pretty much instant placement. So yeah, it is very good on Hoodwink for sure. It gives you basically, yeah, it basically gives you in a way half a spell because you don't land the travel time and take one shot anymore, which is a big part of the weakness of that spell. Is that it's very telegraphed and it does take some time to land. And it can be quelling, right? But if you throw the net and then place the tree as the net is landing, no hero can quelling blade that.
I'm sure there's some people with reaction time syndrome or scripting, but of course nobody's going to be doing that in this lobby, at the very least. These are TI level players, especially at the likes of Misery. Second place. I don't know if you knew that, Syndron. Very good player back in the day.
Very good player.
Hoping for a resurgence from him in particular. It's cool to see him in the off lane though. Definitely not a position that, you know, back in the day he would play position 5 and 4. Pretty much that's it. And then recently, I'm not sure how recently. Maybe I have to talk to T-Gov about this since he's been in the know with him, but
He won a major as offlane.
how recently?
Oh, that's quite a while ago. That was in Shanghai in 20.
Yeah, this was he was it on Secret? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Played offlane
That was
for
with Weehaw. Or was that EE? Or maybe all
That was
of
with
them
EE.
were on the team.
He was it? Who were the support? It was Puppy. Was it Puppy Pilot Eye?
I think I was gonna say Pilot Die probably. Yeah.
Puppy Pilot Eye. Yeah, it was Pilot Eye. I remember. it
Secret
very
had some crazy 5-man rosters, I have to say. All right, we have a mech picked up for Mr. GH. Of course, ILW did finish that BKB. Looks like Gil's gonna use his ult to try to get to the other side, but it's gonna be found out pretty easily. That's gonna be a freebie for NIGMA, and they're just gonna go into Roche. Question is,
Doesn't
can
buy back on the
Helder
Hoodwink, and they have all spells except the Sharpshooter. So he's gonna buy back, and NIGMA doing this specifically to force that buyback and immediately get the hell out of there. Very experienced. They know this was what they were trying to do.
Smoke too.
And smoke. And
of
if they
course,
find
Hoodwink, one of the
Gilgir
few
again now,
heroes.
it's very big.
Hoodwink, one of the few heroes that can actually scout into Roche, so actually a pretty important hero to have alive right now. Ace, gonna be found out, gets the bounty, but will run. LTW just take the triangle for now. But you can see that Helder Smashers are kind of spread a bit. Rasmus towards the top of the screen. They can close in and try to find a nice initiation.
As long as NIGMA aren't killing Roche, I think this is fine from Helder. So, you know, you're paying some respect to the enemy team. Smoke, movement, you know there's smoke because Gyro broke on the PL. And you push out the waves, buy some time, and NIGMA eventually are going to just back off. They didn't really accomplish much with their 2 smokes. They got 1 support kill from 2 smokes. Who, in fairness, did buy back, but it wasn't that big of an expense. I think Hellbear's...
Dyer's top tower
They're
is
doing
under
fine. They're
attack.
2k gold up. It's not a monumental lead, but after they found that kill on Gyro as well as the mid tower, I feel like the game has been in a good spot for them. Boranya will use a nice roll TP out. Nice that relocate.
No stuns.
Yeah, no
He
stun.
needs to get level 25 to get that precious stun.
I feel like, you know, I talk about this a lot. I feel like playing lineups without stuns is just hard. And it doesn't, like, I'm not gonna, you know, say that NIGMA's draft makes no sense and why the hell don't they pick stuns or whatever, but I think they might have had a different plan for their last pick. The DK ban obviously coming out, I think, was the hero they wanted. But that was clearly a good ban from the Smashers, but yeah. Having only seeing situations where heroes can play the map differently on the enemy team, such as the Lina there. Like, if there's literally any stun there, that's just a dead Lina, but because Boran knows that that's not an option, he can push that extra wave that little bit further, or play that little more cocky in fights and get away with it.
Dyer are
I think
scanning.
it's time for GH
Radiant's
to
bottom
get
tower is
his
under
shards. You
attack.
see initiation top lane. Rasmus gets off for the Nitro. Laguna Blade absolutely delete mind control. And looks like Hellbear Smashers will be able to get out just fine.
Radiant's
Alex does get off the
bottom
homing
tower
missile,
is
but
under
really
attack.
no avail here. It's Rasmus showing off his newly minted Manta style, working on a shard for himself. So we talked about how he is mega farm for sure. He just farmed his ILTW basically. That's not good for. This is gonna be a Roche now for Hellbear.
No buyback. They're actually just gonna lose this. I don't see a way NIGMA can contest this at all, so I don't think they're even gonna bother. But maybe they are. Fall down.
Fall down in there. Kuroki is available with the egg. You can see the Sunray coming out. Actually, top is maybe. Well, the homing missile coming. Lena's going to get to the high ground. Goku and Ace trying to traverse to their side of the map. Well, Miracle's going to get caught out, though. LSA's there into the right click. This looks like it's doing more than enough damage to take him out. And only cost him a Wyvern. Roche extremely low right now as the egg does finally pop for Kuroki. A lot of low heroes on the side of Hellbear Smashers. I feel like they have enough time to go heal and go back and get Roche.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is a good play from NIGMA because they stop the Roche and they don't Ravage. Illusion! So if they can hold the area until Miracle spawns, they might be able to grab the Roche then. So I didn't think they were going to be able to or try to contest there, but I think the really key thing was Rasmus was tanking Roche and couldn't blink, so he wasn't able to connect on the nest that Gilger found on the gyro when he walked in, and he just
I think they could get it right now, though.
Dyer's
This is
middle tower is under attack.
20 seconds. I like this a lot. Again, you're just forcing Nigma's hand. You know, there's no supernova. 20 seconds on the TA. Are they gonna buy back? Not bad.
Smoking. Yeah, they want to go out again.
I like this way more.
Stops the smoke beautiful, but there's the Ravage into the pit, but it looks like Ace is going to be able to get the Aegis in the end, but the Roshan actually goes to the NIGMA, and they're going to lose everybody. Gyro's dead, Io's dead, Kuroki on the high ground now, Rasmus just limping away to be a triple kill for Bora. Looks like Mind Control is next on the list. They only lose Rasmus. What a huge fight for Hellbear Smashers. Holy geez. Ultra kill. Mr. Bora, who I can't pronounce your name, but you're playing very well, young man. Good job.
Hello? Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Hello, Nigma? Okay, doesn't this just feel like one of those moments where, okay, if you're gonna double down on that Roche, you're gonna buy back your TA when you go for the Ravage? And the reason is TA has Blink, so if she TPs on the outpost, I think she can connect in time. Instead, you're kind of like, I'm not gonna say they half-ass it, because it is a really big commitment to buy back the TA, but at the same time, like, if you believe in that fight, buying back the TA should probably get you the Aegis. And then that's, you know, if that's the outcome, that you pay a buyback to get that Aegis and the enemy team doesn't get it, that's pretty good, I would say. But going in as 4 there with the rep, it seems a bit optimistic under those circumstances.
I believe the
we basically
Ravage
had 2 4-man fights on Roche in a row, right? Like, Nigma took 2 4v5s in a row there. The first one was without the TA, and the second one was... Or sorry, the first one was without Gyro, right? And the second...
Dyer's bottom
first one was without
under attack.
First one was without someone, second one was without someone else, okay? I have the memory of a goldfish, but I think it was tied first and the second fight was without the TA, right?
Yeah,
Dyer's structures are
I
fortified.
figured it out. It just took...
Radiant structures
did you figure out
are
that
fortified.
Ravage killed Roshan as well?
Dyer's bottom
It's
tower
quite the
is under
highlight, and
attack.
very awkward
Radiant's top
one
tower
that
is
period
under attack.
where the Aegis was on the ground.
Imagine Nigma don't get lucky. I mean, that's just pure luck, right? That the Ravage gets the kill. Then
Wait, how much
that's
does that
another-
matter? How much gold and XP is that even?
Radiant's
It's a
top
decent
tower
chunk.
is under
I
attack.
think this would be about a 1k
Dyer's
bigger
bottom
lead.
tower
Just,
is
I mean,
under
not
attack.
flat, but instead of 3k, let's say 4k right now, and there would be a little bit more experience. Like, in the grand scheme of things, the Aegis is more important than the kill, obviously. But you know, Smashers were set to get both. At the very least, maybe got something there.
Radiant's top
TP's
tower
coming in
is
soft. They're
falling.
very late on this. Ace.
Already at half HP. He needs to be careful here. Choo-choo's already dead. GG loses from Rasmus coming in. Homing missile to follow, but Mind Control with another Ravage. This time it's going to be basically just on the Lina, who gets the Yule off, but the right clicks are going to be more than enough. Nope, going to get saved for now. The LSA's not going to connect, though, and will shortly find her way to the grave. BKB pop from Miracle now as the chase is on. Still buyback available, though, for Bora. If he wants to extend it here. Doppelganger's able to pick off that homing missile. Tofu getting chased, though, in the meantime. Yeah, can't even get off the full embrace in time, so a 2 for nothing along with the tier 2 tower. Despite not having the Aegis, NIGMA are not scared to fight.
Hang on.
Rasmus, beautiful, into the hoodwink bushwhack. 2 huge kills, double kill for Rasmus. The choppity chop is there, and now the egg looks to be next, but it will get popped eventually. Doppelganger actually ends up dodging it a bit here as Ace. Like another bushwhack from Gil. Beautifully done from this
Big play from
hoodwink.
Rasmus.
Radiant's
Finding
middle
Metal.
tower
3
is
big
under
turnaround
attack.
kills
Dire
after
are
a
scanning.
horrible fight for Hellbear.
I don't know what happened in that top fight. Like, I still... I look at that fight and I just see Alina in the middle of everyone without BKB and on 500 health. She popped BKB coming down from her own rules, but how the hell did she get in that position to begin with? You look at the way this Radiant lineup is structured, right? You have a very clear-cut initiation plan with either Hoodwink or Axe, and Lina's just supposed to be long-range artillery. So I don't know how she found herself
Dire's
in the midst of
middle
all of
tower
that.
is
She doesn't
under
even have a
attack.
dagger to get in with, so it couldn't have been that. But yeah, they get a couple of recover kills off of Rasmus there. That definitely helps. So RCW, very defensive BKB. Scared of getting caught.
That is going to get so with 6 seconds. And the call comes in with the Laguna Blade, so yet another kill for Hellbear.
Dire's middle tower
I
is
cannot
under
say their
attack.
name when I'm talking fast.
Harebell.
Slow down like every time I say Team NIGMA. Just have to use that, I guess, that strategy that I've picked up over the years. It looks like Tier 2 Tower. Hellbears, the Radiant team versus the
The wave
Dire.
didn't reach. The wave actually didn't reach to break that back door,
Oh,
so
yeah,
good
you're
job
right.
from Miracle on the trap control. If you're looking at the spot, they're going to push out here, buy themselves some time.
Radiant's bottom
Yeah,
tower
ILTW. We
is
talked
under
about, I mean,
attack.
the fact that he's not even top net worth is pretty crazy considering the amount of farm that he's able to get on this hero, but all the credit to Hellbears. They have definitely shown up here today with that 4K network lead now.
It's not
Talked
even
about the
like that.
relocatability with Bushwhack. Into the Sharpshooter, that's the break. Onto the Tide Hunter, no follow-up
Dire's
though.
top tower is under attack.
They're just posturing
Aegis
here as
down.
the Aegis is now expired. That's something we didn't really talk about, but obviously Sharpshooter against Tide, if you're able to connect it at the full duration, that is a pretty long break. It is dispellable, but not having Kraken Shell means that you can just burst this hero. I mean, that's one of the biggest reasons you pick Tide Hunter, is you basically get a guaranteed Ravage no matter what, just because of that spell.
There's a couple of problems for Tide here, right? There's the Axe Call, which is undispellable, and then there's the Break, which he can dispel with Lotus, but then he needs to not be called at the same time. So it's like a very clear-cut plan.
Regeneration.
Smashers to actually just kill the Tide if they want, which is call into Hoodwink ult, and then just pile on Medina and he's gonna die. And that's big, because the only saves... NIGMA do have both the Sunray and the Tether Burst heal with mech, but as we've seen earlier in the game, the damage from Smashers has been enough. So the question is, when do you push yourself over that limit where you don't die in the burst? That's when NIGMA's lineup gets a lot better, is when they can reliably heal their cores with Sunray in these fights and they start getting longer. But so far so good for Smashers. When they do get the jumps, they convert it immediately into big kills. Bottom lane relocate. Nobody's here with Rasmus though. This could have been really good.
I'm just going to continue to do this. It's not quite an IO tiny from back in the day,
Dire's
but
courier
it's
has
best
been killed.
alternative these days, I suppose. Can't really take a full Rax, but I mean, he does have Agnum Scepter and will be getting Butterfly very shortly. So that is when he starts to do damage in fights. I mean, this is kind of like a farming build, right? He's doing damage in fights, but just takes on a whole new level once you get these Butterfly type items.
He still feels susceptible though, even with this. I still think he can die to a full-on combo from the Smasher, so I don't think you're safe as ILTW here. It helps you against the PL, of course, but like imagine you get Axe called with Hoodwink ult and Lina Burst. I don't know, man. I don't know if their heal is enough to keep him alive without having, say, Satanic or
Dire's top tower
Gotti
is
for
under
the extra
attack.
health. Gets caught outside of BKB. I think he's killable.
Miracle
Dire's structures are
has the Butterfly
fortified.
coming online very shortly as
Dire's
well.
top tower
His
is
BKB
under
is
attack.
still at 8 seconds, so hasn't been popping it nilly-willy like ILTW has. Of course, ILTW has been kind of in the thick of things.
Dire's top
Ace
tower
on the
has
TL
fallen.
has the Heart S and Y combo along with the Diffuse that we had earlier. ILTW leads the charge action onto Rasmus. He's gonna get the call down, but he's gonna get killed in the meantime. He's stunned, so both up applied as well. Bora's not really scared of anything. He's in the back. Miracle just absolutely rampaging through Rasmus. It's gonna be enough to take him out. Golden Brace not there in time. Now the chase onto Tofu. Up for the time being, but the chase is on. Looks like Michael will find out. In the field, Tofu to be able to get out. But ILTW is in a lot of trouble right now. Getting surrounded by his teammates, so the egg for separation as well. It looks like Gil might fall on the backside. Ace needs to create a little bit of space thanks to this egg. ILTW finally gets that last right click, so a 2-for-0 after all of that. Still a lot of damage on the ILTW, but no kills for Hellbears Smashers.
Really good play from Miracle in that fight. I don't think it's an obvious play that he can go and kill the Axe there, but he does pull it off just barely, and with Axe out of the picture, it's just
Dire's
easy.
bottom
And you
tower is
gotta
under
think
attack.
on Smashers as well. Like Tofu, he has to do that for that Cold Embrace. He has Blink Dagger on the Wyvern. It needs to save Axe from the TA in time, and who knows if they could have turned that around. But a big play from NIGMA. They get 2 kills. One of them on the Axe, which is, you know, still a decent chunk of net worth that you managed to claw into, and Roshan has just spawned and they have a trap there. That's the bigger fight. It's Rose number 2. That Nigma Taylor this fight to take both to the respawn of this and get rewarded in a big way. And the Aegis probably onto LTW? Yes, no, maybe? Yes.
Yeah,
Is
so
it
we
Chiefs
looked
of
at a
Miracle?
stat privately, right,
Onto
between
IO,
you
of
and me,
course,
on the win rate of second Roche, just not in pro games, but all around game. It's like 80%, which I guess shouldn't be that big of a surprise, because second Roshan just in general probably has a high win rate throughout history. But this one in particular just has an actual something for sure.
Giving the shard to TA. We'll give the talents on Psionic Trap. So
Waiting for that Ags.
it's a really big problem for Wyvern, actually. So if Wyvern is ever caught on a trap, he's just get silenced, or you kill someone else while Wyvern is silenced. It just gives this added layer of utility to Miracle to be really confident in finding key picks.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Speaking of confidence, he's straight down to mid tier 2, pushing this really quickly with those very interesting shots, looking like something out of Star Trek.
Dire's bottom
Star
tower
Trek?
is
I
under
was
attack.
thinking more Wizard
Actually,
of
World of
Oz.
Warcraft.
It's more of a rainbow
Dire's
effect, if I
bottom
do say
tower
so
has
myself.
fallen.
Scotty not picked up by Ace, who's in the enemy jungle right now, but like you can see, NIGMA are just taking all the outer towers. They've taken everything but the tier 2 bot, and this is going to go the tier 3 top. Okay, sharpshooter with the Laguna Blade. All right, NIGMA were not aware of that combo apparently. Everybody has to pop his BKB, and it's just a retreat, but it's a Wyvern Curse applied to him. A little bit of damage done from TA as well. Born Ninja gets up the LSA as well. He'll relocate onto the other side of the cliff. I thought he went back to base, but it's actually a little baby one yet again, so look to reinitiate potentially here. I was going to be already used BKB and the Aegis. I feel like Hellbears are going to be very happy with this exchange.
Call down for what? Sorry, it's a reference to a song that you don't like because
Yeah,
it's a good song. So.
I actually laughed because I knew I wouldn't understand it, but I knew what it was generally from. You and I are just on the same page, even
Do
when
you
it
not
doesn't
like
make
Lil
any sense.
Jon, Sunsfan?
I don't know who.
Say yeah, then you're saving yourself right now.
Wait, does he have blonde hair?
Okay.
Color blonde?
Let's move on with the game.
Okay.
That was about as wrong.
There's a reason. Okay, I'm not gonna get into it, but I did. Maybe it was Lil Wayne I saw recently. I get the Lil all mixed up. I'm not gonna, because I don't really keep track of the.
Yeah, there's a lot
music
of them.
kids.
That's actually easy to mix up.
That's true.
Who started that trend
MKBs.
anyway?
I don't know.
Why are you called Lil something?
Double damage.
That's a great question for a Dota 2 cast. We got Lena,
It really is.
little Lena, as the MKB
Dire's
to be able
middle
to
tower is
get
under
through the
attack.
butterflies from both ILTW and Miracles. That's a very good pickup. Is that something you
Dire's
ever
middle
go
tower
for
has
on
fallen.
PL? I know it's not an item you want to, but are you forced to at some point, or are you just gonna, like, you're just gonna
Get
rely on the
MKB?
illusions? Yeah.
I guess double butter. I don't know. So I would say, so PL is my worst win rate hero with over 25 games. I'm probably the wrong person to ask.
Great. You're the
but-
analyst, so I'd be
Right.
the only
So
person.
the thing is, honestly, when I see PLs play, like you said, they don't want to buy it. I can't tell you what the breaking point is for when you have to. That's the thing, right? Like, I think in this game there's a lot of value because you're playing against double butterfly, but even he's doing it now. So I think if it was one butterfly, he wouldn't do it.
You talked
that
long enough for him to choose his next item and farm halfway to it. You are a god. Incredible.
He did, no,
Dire's
he
middle
just farms
tower
really
is
fast.
under
I didn't
attack.
talk that.
Yeah, that's
So-
definitely the case.
So let's say only one of the enforcement butter, right? Like the TA or the gyro, but not
Dire's
both.
bottom
I think
tower is under
it's
attack.
probably not a good enough value proposition when playing another item. But in this game, I feel like it's necessary. It really does say something that gets it, right?
Dire's
These two
bottom
butters have
tower
been
is
in play
under
for quite a
attack.
while.
Of course, the fourth at the bottom lane, so looks like this is a very even game right now. I'm not just saying because it's only a 1K network lead for Hellbears, but I mean, we talked about late game. We do favor NIGMA, but have to say the Gyrocopter, he is super farm, but he has been getting deleted repeatedly. Does have Satanic now. He has extra tankiness later.
That's a big item.
Obviously synergizes with his ag, since even when he's stunned, he will be attacking, getting some lifesteal off of it.
More fuel for my
I wonder
fire.
wonder when we're gonna see some more
Radiant
discs
are
come out as
scanning.
well. We have one on Guild so far, but it feels like a very, very strong item in this game against the Hoodwink combo or NIGMA. I gotta say, man, this Axe Hoodwink feels really good as a carry. The calls instead of your sharpshooter, the fact that you break the people that you call, it just makes Axe's team able to pile on way easier against a lot of heroes. The lane itself is pretty strong. There's a lot of damage in it. I like it.
Something we didn't mention,
Dire's bottom tower
but Ace,
is
he
under
got this a
attack.
while ago, was the Shard, which is the Spirit Lance bounces.
Yep.
And we talked about this at the Mage, where some people were not going for this at all. The Wicked Assault into the LSA, Mind Control. He's deleted as well. He does have buyback though, 85 seconds.
Dire's
Doesn't
bottom
want to use
tower
it.
has fallen.
Almost certainly will have to though. As you can see, Lina just pounding onto the Ranger Axe. So Hellbear
Dire's
Smashers are
bottom
the
tower
first
has fallen.
to get a Rax of any kind. And it's going to be a full sweep in the bot lane. Miracle jumps in, but I don't think he actually wants to do anything further here. As the flicker, that's going to be pretty annoying to deal with. Set of Rax for Hellbears. So with buyback here, so... And of course, no fort. Nullifier now.
Buyback out of
Miracle, okay. Oh, Rasmus jumps in, but the Yules. Buyback is there. Now the run-in from NIGMA. Can they catch up to anybody is the question. Ace has the homing missile buyback and obviously just doppelganger away. So they can synergize this with the Ravage potentially, but no. Be able to get it off in time. It looks like the retreat will be successful, and there's even a double damage rune for the Lina.
If Smackers didn't stack that Evil plus Call, who knows what would have happened to that TA. He does have the 25 talent, so he has a lot of refraction charges. But if PL connects with a lot of illusions, those are removed very quickly. And they could find themselves another big kill. But at the very least, they got the Tide buyback regardless, and they disengaged. Again, it's just this... It's this thing about NIGMA's lineup that when Tide isn't there, so much freedom for Smashers to do whatever they want. They just get out of there, right? Like, nothing's going to stop them. Gonna start poking here with the PL. Not, and they're gonna miracle this triangle area now. They're just gonna hold the high ground. There's no threat of erosion for a while. Early respawn is in a minute. And this bottom wave will push in. So I reckon as soon as Enigma hero shows bottom, we might see a smoke from Smashers across to the top. Enigma are not going to give them that piece of information. They're actually making the move, going for a big play here.
Dire's middle tower is under
Polarized
attack.
Wrap around here. ILTW is going to be spotted. The homing missile is already there. Boron Ninja has to be careful because his use can now be dispelled thanks to the nullifier. The Aeon Disc as well for who was it that had it? Somebody. Ace, right? Fall down is there. Mind Control gets off the Ravage. He's going to connect on a couple of heroes. Into the egg as well. That's the Sunray egg, and Boron Ninja is in a lot of trouble. He's going to get off the Yules for now, but you have to think that he will be the sacrifice at the very least. Gets the Luna Blade off, but only damage in the end. It's on Mind Control jump in again. Gonna pop that Aeon Disc. Looks like they want to fight, but Lena's gonna buy back into the game. The pressure applies to GH, but sent back to base thanks to the beautiful relocate from GH, but a choppity chop is enough. And ILTW, as a result of Io not being there anymore, has no save for himself. Kuroki with the dive. Will he? Oh, it's gonna be close. Ace just gets enough
They found
damage.
Miracle. He has dagger.
GH.
Nice timing.
Miracle. Call is there into the bushwhack. Down he goes. Wow. One buyback from Boro. And
That was a
4
frame
dead.
perfect
Dire's
Lina.
top tower
That
is
was a
under
frame
attack.
perfect Lina. Coming out of that Yules. That was super good. I think, so I believe Miracle did have refraction running, so he can blink
Dire's
out of
middle tower
the
is under
Yules
attack.
land. But the stun was just perfect. Didn't get to turn and
Dire's
blink at
middle
all.
tower has fallen.
And this should be the game.
Yeah, they can do
Dire's
it.
middle tower
Just
is under
never
attack.
really got their feet off the ground too much in terms of fighting. They have the farm. Fine moves. Try one last effort to hold here.
Be dead. Rasmus jumps in, and the damage applied against ILTW is just more than enough. GH cannot save his brother this time around. And he's going to be the death as well. So this will be A1 for Hellbear Smashers.
Victory.
Very big upset. Again, this is the #1 seed versus the #8 seed of the upper bracket. So regardless of which team loses in this best of 3, they will have another life. But very good showing from Hellbears, I have to say.
Yeah, for sure. I think they had a... I really like the flavor of the strategy with... You know, I was like,